Andrea J. Simon, Dr. Andrea J. Simon, aka Andy, is an international leader in the growing field of corporate anthropology. She's an Axiom Bronze Best Business Book of 2017 winning author for her best-selling book On the Brink: A Fresh Lens to Take Your Business to New Heights, and she's the founder and CEO of Simon Associates Management Consultants, otherwise known as SAMC. Andy's forthcoming book is entitled Rethink: Smashing the Myths of Women in Business. Is scheduled for release in January of 2021. So be on the lookout for that. It shows how women today are challenging the expected norms of business and crashing through with extraordinary creative business, legal, professional solutions. Andy enables organizations to see their cultures with fresh eyes. Her talks on change matters and blue ocean strategy have been featured in 500 engagements, and she's widely covered in Inc.com, Business Week, Good Morning America, Modern Healthcare, and has been a blogger for Forbes and Fierce Healthcare. With more than 150,000 monthly listeners, her podcast, On the Brink with Andy Simon, is ranked among the top 200 business podcasts for entrepreneurship and is rated among the top 20 futurist podcasts. Her clients come from across the globe and span industries as she helps them come off the brink and learn how to soar again. Andy, we met through Peter Winnick's group and stuff like that. You made quite an impression on me in that little group get together. How you doing today? Everything good?
Oh, I'm delighted to be here. I'm happy to be the interviewee and not the interviewer. So, Dave, thank you for the opportunity to share.
Turnabout is fair play. I thought we would sort of capitalize on your book, your upcoming book title, and the concept of this. And how has this current moment of high flux, whether it's COVID or civil unrest or economic challenges, how has this current moment of high flux caused you, Andy Simon, to rethink?
Well, that's a great question because who knew that the whole topic of rethink, much less smashing the myths, would be so timely? But I specialize in helping organizations change. And I used to tell them if you want to change, have a crisis or create one. Now, who knew I'd have a crisis to work with like this? So many of our clients are coming to us because, okay, I'm in crisis now. Let's not waste the crisis. Let's rethink. How many ways can we rethink ourselves, our business, our clients? And I do a whole lot of CEO workshops, and each of them are struggling with the lack of certainty because humans want to see into the future. Homo prospectus, we want to know the future, or we can't live today. So the challenge is, how am I going to rethink myself not knowing where I'm going? And so the book was written to help people see how women are reinventing what's possible. And I
Hmm.
did it because we have something called the Simon Initiative for Entrepreneurship at Washington University, helping women entrepreneurs. And what I realized was that the women had no role models that they could easily relate to. And so the whole process that we're going through now is how do we rethink who we are and how to see ourselves and what's possible, even myself.
Let's roll into that issue of women in leadership. Can you give us maybe one or two quick hit pieces of advice for women in leadership role right now?
Absolutely, because what we're seeing, I belong now to the Women's Business Collaborative and to several other women's organizations. And there's a movement, I don't know who the vice president candidate might be, but there is a growing movement to see women as potential leaders and real leaders in very different ways. What I found as we did our research was that women lead differently. There's great research, studies, of hundreds of people who said women lead better than men, but they don't get the acknowledgement for it. But there's three things that we know. One of which is they collaborate far better than guys might. It's not a command and control. It's really a lot of empowerment, engagement, and teamwork. And the second thing that we find is that they listen differently. The chapter in my book, Jamie Candy, I know quite well, but she talks about spending so much of her day listening to her clients, listening to her staff, and trying to make them mesh so that the stories that they each are telling come together. And the third part is that very often women rise to crisis occasions differently. So whether it's Angela Merkel or the wonderful woman in New Zealand who is just leading differently, And there's no shortage of articles about how the women who are leading their countries have done far better with COVID than the guys.
Mhm.
So there's something in the messaging here that tells us that it's okay to shift your style, but it might be good to take a look at what women can do and embrace them and let them run with it, because they are really transforming, rethinking the way we get things done. And I can go on. Unfortunately, I won't do that right now, but this is a time for us to really step back and look at what's possible. So I defer to you, because I think this is a time that you too are looking for what's possible.
I totally am. It is a whole new reality, and again, never let a crisis go to waste. I'm interested in your response to the question I ask everybody, Andy, which is what lessons have we learned, or are we learning right now
Yep.
that we must not forget?
Well, as I do my leadership academies with some of my clients, I'm picking up some signals. And I urge people, they say I'm a futurist. We listen for signals. If I hear it once, it's interesting. 2 or 3 times, it's a recurring theme. What am I hearing? Loneliness, isolation. Almost 25% of Americans lived alone before the COVID. Um, People weren't getting married till their 30s. Maybe they were living with parents. A lot of people were single. We didn't pay a lot of attention, but a third of the population was depressed, anxious, and having health situations. Now, what I'm hearing from my clients, that remote work is good, but I miss companionship. And as they're visualizing what they are really missing, oh my goodness, the loneliness and solitary confinement in prison. Solitary confinement is the most serious place you can be. Humans are herd animals. We like others. We like to tell stories. Yeah, even as you and I are sharing our stories, it's a time for us to really think about being together, remotely or together. But I think that social distancing and solitary confinement are the things that I'm learning now that I might have known but really didn't focus on. And so I think that social life is really important. Friends, family, community, churches, doesn't matter where, you need others. Humans do. So that's my little aha.
That's fantastic. Andy, I really appreciate your time today, and good luck with the book when it comes out.
Hey, thanks so much, Dave. It's been such fun. We should do it again. It will be fun to have you on my podcast and to keep sharing. I love it.